What up? Welcome to the official DoD Podcast.
The Guardian Radio Network presents the official Dads of Destiny podcast. The only place where dads can be 100% correct 100% of the time. Don't tell your mother.
What up? Welcome to episode 17 of the official DoD Podcast. I'm your host, TwoLoudtx. Here with me today, my co-host and Guardian Slayer himself, Nolxero. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Drop the heroes, get with the zero, man, as always.
There you go.
It's officially.
What else do you need at that
It's
point?
officially reached your mantra now.
Yeah, it has.
Is it on your Twitter handle? Has it made it there?
I've used it on there.
No, it
I
just
mean,
is.
When people are sitting there and they're bringing a new life into the world and they're saying, drop the hero and get with the zero.
Oh my god.
I mean,
he's never going to forget
that's
that,
his
man.
statuses I
guy.
never dreamt of.
It's a big deal for you, right?
That is a pretty big deal.
Well, the man you hear there, the man whose Christmas day was ruined by PSN going down, is going to tell us a little bit more about that a little later on. But your Dads of Destiny co-founder, POPEBEAR, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that later. But let's just say that Lizard Squad and I, we need to have some words.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You were at home
You might want to be careful.
just sobbing, crying,
No,
just
I
so
just want to
sad
talk.
you couldn't get on.
I just want to talk.
Yeah.
I want to keep them as far away from me as possible. These dudes are volatile.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having anonymous on you there, so I'm glad it wasn't them behind this. That's for sure. Then
it's
finally
actually
coming.
funny because we'll talk about that, but Anonymous
Yeah.
was involved. So we'll talk
They
later.
were indeed. I was just about to say
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, finally coming out from under the covers of the flu sickness, your DoD savvy leader Hambone. What's up, buddy? How you feeling over
that.
there?
Oh, I am trying to maintain without coughing and losing my lunch on the microphone. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Did you have a pretty good Christmas lunch there? I mean, did you?
Yeah, it was basically a liquid lunch. A lot of Alka-Seltzers and, stuff like that. Theraflu, anything to try to keep myself calm.
Now you getting? Are you? Do you have that flu that's sort of the shivers, or the shivers?
It's the shivers. This one is definitely the shivers, and it's
that
been
one.
brutal. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the shivers are horrible, man.
You can't
that
get
one makes you
warm.
feel so bad.
Yeah, right. No, I couldn't get
You got to
warm.
lay in bed. That's
At
all
the
you do.
second you
just
get
lay in
warm,
bed.
you're like, I'm hot.
Right, exactly. So it's like I got a huge stain, like a sweat imprint of where I was on the bed because it was so hot. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel like I've been doing things in this bed that I have not. So.
Oh, man. Well, from all of us here at the DoD Podcast and the Dads of Destiny admin team, we hope you guys all had a wonderful Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll also have a fantastic New Year. So if you're listening to this on Monday, New Year is only a couple days away. So be safe, and we hope you guys enjoy the new year. Definitely stick around because we'll be continuing on into 2015 and beyond. As you hear in Toy Story, I got my 2-year-old son over here watching Toy Story like it's going out of style. So and beyond is just stuck in my head.
Beyond.
Beyond. Remember to jump over to Dads of Destiny. Also, guys, and register for the new forums if you haven't already. I know that a lot of dads are getting Christmas gifts from the wife, whether it be new games or whatnot. If you're playing Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty or whatever you pull out from under the tree, if you're looking for somebody to play with, jump over to dadsofdestiny.net, and those guys definitely have different place for you to go and find other dads that can team up with you and play those games with you. So jump over there. And also don't forget to jump over to thedodpodcast.com for our blogcast and links to our YouTube channel and Twitch channel, which Pope and Hambone and Nolxero have all been working on a lot here this past week. Even with Hambone down, he's constantly working on the YouTube footage and working with Pope to get all the videos going.
Well,
so
check the Tumblr as well. I've been giving the Tumblr a lot of love. So
the blogcast over there. So definitely check that out. With that out of the way, gather your beverages of choice, and let's get started with episode 17.
Bottles up, Guardians.
Please drink responsibly. Silly kids, drinking is for adults only. Don't drink and ride your Sparrow. Drinking has been known to increase your aim. Individual crucible results may vary. If you have a buzz lasting longer than 4 hours, contact the speaker immediately. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
All right, Pope. So, anything special left in your fridge after Christmas? I mean, you're home, there trying to play, some Destiny, and it's not working. So you're just over there, guzzling it down, cleaning out the fridge.
Yeah, and that's really where we're at. I reached into the back of the fridge today. I was at home. I've been at home. I'm on vacation. I've got 2 weeks off, so I'm really fortunate that I can have those 2 weeks off, and the family's away for a few days. So I've literally been in my PJs for 3 days, and I'm loving it. And I went to the fridge.
You are such a slob.
I
in
haven't
your
taken a
PJs.
shower in 2 days. I'm loving it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got it. I understand.
And I haven't left the house. I'm not even concerned that there's what time of day it is outside, if there's sun, if there's moon. So it's wonderful.
We definitely sound like the gaming nerds that live in mommy's
Hey,
basement
you know
right
what,
now.
though?
You know
You
that,
know what,
right?
though?
Like, I don't even care. I haven't taken a shower for 4 days. It doesn't matter to me.
You know this, but maybe the people that are listening don't. I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning to be at work by 7. All right, I'm at work by 7. So
that's insane.
To me, not having to wake up in the morning to an alarm, because I'm a guy that doesn't wake up in the morning. I got to set 4 alarms in the bedroom. It's like
that partially because you stay up playing Destiny till 2 or 3 in the morning. But
right.
Well, the point is that to not have to wake up to the cacophony of sound that is my alarm clocks, right? Is wonderful. It's a treat. It is vacation for me. So I reached in the back of the fridge, and my roommate. I stole a beer from my roommate, and he had some Heinekens back there, and that's what I'm drinking today.
Oh, wow. Honey! I love the Heineken.
It's basically the European Budweiser, but it's fun. It's just one of those go-to beers that you always should have in the fridge. So I'm drinking a Heineken.
Nothing wrong with choice. That would go under the budget buy section for sure.
Especially since I stole it.
Right? Oh, yes. That's my favorite. That's the 5-finger discount. Yes.
It is a 5-finger discount.
Man. What about you, Nolxero? What do you got over there? I know something crazy here that you got quite the explanation for us on. So go ahead. Let us know what you got.
This thing is... it says on the bottle, first and foremost, that it's the world's oldest brewery. And so I'm not sure about that. I can't, say that they are, but I'll take their word for it. And the name on this, I'm going to kill it, man. It's,
cool.
I don't even remember what I said at the beginning of the show, what it was. It was the vest. I have no idea.
So you're drinking a German beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a German. There you go.
That's it. It's awesome. It's a Weiss beer, right?
Yeah, and I put it on Twitter. Stan, I got an immediate follow from or a favorite from Stan. So I take it that Stan liked what I was drinking, and he was in approval of what I chose. So it looks like, as far as Stan goes, it looks like I picked a good beer, and it tastes good, man. I like it so far. It's very reminiscent of the Hoegaarden. Tastes a lot like that, maybe a little more citrusy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love those.
Well, what about you, Hambone? What you got over there?
Well, it is Christmas, so I did go shopping and came up with the Samuel Smith Taddy Porter.
So you're just getting over this sickness, to clarify, and you're just going ahead and going.
I have expected, Troy. I have expected him to say he's drinking NyQuil.
Right.
I did too.
I came prepared. I mean, I was going to say I kept it light for this because I have some bourbon downstairs and some brandy.
Oh my!
You're not going to get better doing that.
No, but there is a such thing as a hot toddy where you take your liquor and you mix it with tea and it makes you feel better because you can't feel crap. So this is another porter and it's called Taddy Porter, and it's over from the English over there, and apparently it is brewed with well water, and the original well was sunk in 1758, and it is still in use. So it's pretty good if you like dark beer, and of course, it was not more than $5. So, but it is definitely a quality buy if you have a Bevmo in your area. It is not of the garbage variety or anything like a Dailies mixed pouch, but
no Slurpees this week.
No Slurpees this week.
You had to visit an actual store to get that, not just the convenience store. Okay.
Right. This was not a corner store special. This was.
I got mine from Specs.
I don't know what that is.
We gotta try. I gotta come to California just to go to this Bevo's you always talk about.
Bevmo, man. Beverages and more. That is what it's short for. Beverages and more. So.
It is like
y'all don't have Specs?
No. Mm-mm.
I thought this place was nationwide.
So it probably is, and we just some sort of consumer testing said that Specs didn't go over well with California people, so they named it Bevmo.
Right.
It's probably the
same thing. Yeah.
It's literally like a warehouse of alcohol.
That's what it is.
That's Bevmo.
That's what Bevmo is. You walk in and they have liquor from floor to ceiling. You know.
And all the things that go with it: the glasses, mixers, ice. They have stuff in a little freezer and stuff on the floor. It's crazy. I love that place.
Well, I am drinking a beer out of the Fort Worth, Texas area called the Rars Blonde, and I believe Nolxero, I think you tried this one, but it's by Rars and Son, and Rars and Son is a fairly new brewery here in Fort Worth. It's actually only been open since 2004. But this guy Fritz Rar that opened it up, I guess he had a family that had a lot of brewing history. So his family's been brewing for years and years and years. And so anyways, he opened up his place here in Fort Worth. And this was the first beer that they actually started brewing was the Blonde. And, it's pretty good. I mean, it's just, it's not very hoppy, so, I'm digging it. And it's really light, blonde beer. So I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Blondes.
I have no complaints.
I'm always confused that you don't like dark beer. Yeah, gotta love those blondes, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't like hops,
there's a blonde girl in the front.
Right? If you don't like hops, I would imagine that you might like dark beer because it's more malty and less hoppy.
You know what, dude? But I don't like malt very much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. And for me, like dark beers are just so heavy.
Yeah, it's like a meal.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have enough hair on my chest, to be honest with you, to drink a dark beer. That's what it boils down to.
So you're calling me a real man?
Yeah. I mean, if I am less of a man, if I'm being measured by my beer taste, I'm definitely the lesser of a man, for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I like my light beers too, so I'm not going to give you no crap for that.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Although, dude, there is, and I would love to hear this. If somebody out there has tasted this, so you guys know how I love wheat beers, though, okay? And so Shock Top is a big favorite of mine. Mm-hmm. And they have a seasonal called Chocolate Wheat. Okay?
Really?
So I don't know if it's any good. I'd love to try it, but I'm afraid to try it. But if you have tried Chocolate Wheat, anyways, it looks really, really, really interesting. So
yeah,
I gotta check it out. But anyways, with that said, Pope, I would like to hear a little bit about why you've been crying the past few days about the hacking and what resulted in the PSN and XBLA being down.
Well, everybody on the PlayStation and Xbox side has been affected over the last few days by a denial of service attack that happened on Christmas Day by a group called Lizard Squad, and the thing that surprised me is that Sony and Microsoft knew that it was coming a month ago.
Yeah.
This group announced...
Wait a second. This happened on Christmas Day, right? Because I wasn't around on Christmas Day. So you woke up Christmas Day, tried to sign on, didn't work.
Right.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Both PlayStation and Xbox Live were completely out of commission. And so if you're not familiar what a denial of service attack is, it's not... See, people are calling these guys hackers, and they're not. They're not hacking anything. What they're doing is they're using a botnet or a bunch of different individual computers that are like a slave computers that they're directing to send information or a request for communication, like a sign-on or some sort of request for information to a specific IP address. And so if you get enough computers to do that at one time, you can overload that server and fill up its availability and then shut it down. So what happens, and this happens if you played competitive Call of Duty or Halo over the years, or League of Legends, I imagine happens all the time. But any online game, people have been doing this for a long time. And it's sort of I wrote down some ideas and some thoughts on this, because my first reaction to this was I was fairly angry at it, at this group Lizard Squad. I was angry at them for doing this, and I thought it was a dick move.
But you said that Sony and Microsoft knew this a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so that goes back to my original thought. And I didn't get a chance to play, and I'm not saying what they did in any way, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue my comments and say that anything that they did as a group is acceptable, but it helps me to understand it, to put it in this context. Okay, there's two different types of protests. There's civil protest, or like a nonviolent protest, and then there's a protest of violence, right? To understand that there's two different approaches to fighting a system and getting, think of the civil rights movement or anything to do with a group that's being marginalized, right? There's some wronged group. Their Lizard Squad, in my opinion, took a stance that they let Microsoft and Sony know that they were going to do this a month ago, that they needed to secure their networks, that gamers were tired of being hit offline and not being protected, that companies like NASDAQ and tons of business companies that run on the internet have security systems that protect their computers from this type of denial of service attack. Microsoft and PlayStation have the ability to keep people that play online from being hit offline by denial of service attacks, but they choose to not secure their network. A hacktivist group said that they were not happy with the fact that Microsoft was not and PlayStation was not investing in their infrastructure to support gamers that have their regular games being affected by denial of service attacks. So they felt that their best way of doing that was to hit PlayStation and Xbox on a day that would get the most attention possible. Now, I think they succeeded because everybody's talking about it. I think it sucks. I don't agree with that form of political movement. I don't agree with that. And what made it even worse is that these guys were bought off. They hit PlayStation and Xbox off, and I don't know if you know Kim.com, but he's the guy that is, Mega Upload site, and he's a big Destiny fan. He tweeted out one day, he tweeted out his Cryptarch rank, and his Cryptarch rank was over 100. Okay?
Right.
So he is a huge Destiny gamer, and he's worth billions. And he offered to buy off the hacktivist group, and they sold their they stopped hitting PlayStation and Xbox because Kim.com paid him off. Now,
wow.
So The problem I'm having with this is that they did this denial of service attack to make a point, and they lost all their credibility when they accepted money, which is roughly about $300,000 in vouchers to Mega Upload.
Who got that money?
They did.
But who's they?
This is a group of about 5 to 10 guys.
Okay.
The thing to say to this, as far as Sony or Microsoft spending the money to secure the network, is we've all seen Fight Club, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember in the beginning of that movie, there's a part where they're talking about, or I don't remember what part in the movie it was, but he's talking about working for the vehicle manufacturing companies and how they judge whether they should issue a recall based off of how much it's going to cost to actually take the production of the vehicle off of the line. It's the same thing. They evaluate the cost of actually doing the work of fixing the network and securing the network. And it's like, is it worth it is it cost more to do that, or does it cost more to apologize when it goes down?
Right.
And one of the Lizard Squad guys said, and obviously they're a bunch of, we don't know them from Adam, right? They might be talking out their ass, but they're saying that it would roughly cost Microsoft about $1.5 million a month to maintain a secure network.
They could probably afford that.
And they could afford that. Honestly, they can afford that. That they make the money to be able to do that. But it's
I bet it's
margins.
cheaper. But I bet it's cheaper to give a free game and apologize.
Right. It absolutely is. And so here's my perspective. Me not being able to play for the last few days has sucked. I do not appreciate Lizard Squad knocking me offline so that I couldn't play. But I completely understand how a bunch of gamers are pissed that Microsoft and Sony are not investing in their infrastructure to support the average gamer.
Look, if these two companies can't learn from one thing, and that is Microsoft's failure of the launch of Xbox One and how the entire gaming industry backlashed on that, right? As a whole, whether you're a fan of Xbox or not, everybody backlashed on that. I mean, from the media to everyone. I mean, they gave them a very hard time. And I think what's happening here is, it's, not to sound like I'm rioting or something, but I think it is a movement for the gamers. I think that, the gamers are finally speaking up and going, hey, look, we're going to have things the way we want them now, and we're going to tell you guys how we want them done. And if you don't listen to us, then we're gonna do something to affect it, and essentially causing that to occur.
Right. And so here's the problem I'm having with this. I don't agree with that type of political statement. So I think they're going about it the wrong way. However, and I feel like they totally screwed up by taking money. Yeah. Honestly, they totally ruined their,
I agree.
Their message.
Yeah, I mean, a movement, you stand strong no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for that, I feel like they lost all credibility with me. Unfortunately, I'm even angrier now because I feel like they had an opportunity to send a message to Microsoft and to PlayStation to protect our credit card numbers, to protect our IP addresses, to protect our ability to play the game the way we want to play it, lag-free, and not have some competitive game ended because some on the other side decides to hit me offline. Right? So those are things that I feel very strongly about. They have the ability to protect the integrity of my gameplay. They know that they're one of two people on the block. They're both not securing their network. They don't give a crap about what our experience is because money keeps coming in.
Right.
So
and that's the thing that kills me. Yeah.
Put them on CNN. Put them on the BBC. Put them on every major news agency.
Well, here's the problem.
Why they don't have a secure network, and maybe they do something about it.
Right.
Well, here's the problem with, I know you say you don't like how they went about it. Obviously, I don't agree with them taking money either. But to say they don't have a lot of choices. As gamers, we don't have a lot of choices, right? Because we want to continue to play the games.
Right.
So we almost have just two choices. We either don't buy, right, at all, or we do something like this that causes them to double think about it.
But does it? Because, I mean, if you think about it, this happened way back in 2011 when PSN didn't have a paid subscription service. Or they did, but it was an optional thing. You didn't need it to be... Got a cough. Hold on.
Yeah, and it was down for what, like 3 weeks?
It was down
right?
for nearly a month, and that was the thing. And it's like, so now that you're requiring this $50 from us a year, what is that money going towards? If you're not securing the network, what are you spending the money that we just paid you?
Well, what they'll tell you is we're giving you free games every week.
Well,
every month.
But you also got to consider that if you go from PS3 to PS4, a lot has gone into the PSN network. Now, I'm not saying that's a pass to, we've done all this work, so we're not going to do this. But Microsoft's more guilty here because Microsoft has had the bigger, badder network for a much longer time.
And David, you should have seen the aftermath of this. They hit them so hard offline that PlayStation is still trying to figure out how to reboot their system. Microsoft, as soon as they ended the attack, Microsoft was back online within a few hours.
Right.
PlayStation, like 2 days.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Microsoft, this is what Microsoft does, and that's the thing you get. That's one of my arguments forever about Xbox is they definitely have it when it comes to the network. And
yeah, I mean, they're a software company, right? So we always expect. I mean, they should have better software. They should, be able to operate, the server side better. I mean, that's just the reality of it, and they do. I mean, 90% of the time they do.
Right.
Well, this was a bad. This was a bad, in my opinion, in summation of this, because I think there's a lot of people that might take my comments as me supporting, a hacktivist group. But I hope they listen to my opinion in its entirety and say that, I understand where they're coming from. I don't support it. But you also have to understand that this group, the Lizard Squad group, is a bunch of not connected people. They're individuals. So each one of them has different motives. It's not like they are an organization. Some of them were just doing it to be jerks.
To be rebels.
Right. So for them, it was just the excitement of doing it. So for me, it's really hard for me to express that I support a group like this that has such varied interests and varied tactics, because it doesn't really send the message that I think it needs to be sent. I'm sure there's some of that group that are hacktivists that feel like they're sending a message to Sony that needs to be said, and of those guys, I support their decisions. The other guys that took the money, the other guys that are doing it just to piss people off and to troll and to get the lulz, as they put it in their Twitter posts, them, I don't find it funny at all. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I agree
anything.
for you. I mean, I don't think. I think coming from all of us, we can all say we're not saying that we condone the hacking and pushing it through.
But what about the other side of this with the Finest Squad, the guys who in turn DDoS the Lizard Squad, like that whole thing that played out yesterday on Twitter.
Right. So there's another group, and it's all grabbing attention, right? And there's so many varied points here that it's really hard to explain everything. But Finest Squad is actually a company, right? So they do Finest
NetSec,
Security.
I believe.
They Finest Security, right? So that's the name of the company, and then it's all a publicity. They got involved for publicity. Right. And to get everybody to know their name, and they succeeded, obviously. But they were in this Twitter battle with Lizard Squad, and I don't want to sound like some sort of yellow tabloid journalism thing here, because you can go listen to freaking whatever his face is who does the drama alert if you want to get involved with that.
Yep. Uh-huh.
But the point is that there's another group out there that was trying to attack Lizard Squad, but in reality, the only thing that they were able to do, Brian, is they were able to identify and target the IP addresses, the avenues, and the methods in which Lizard Squad was attacking PlayStation and Xbox, and they still didn't figure out how to shut them down. They were actually tweeting Microsoft and PlayStation and telling them how to secure their network and how to stop the attack, and they still couldn't do it. Can you believe that? They were actually
that is crazy.
They were actually tweeting Microsoft saying rotate. They were giving them instructions
rotate the DNS servers
on how to stop the attack and what direction it was coming from, and they still couldn't stop it.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's just
man.
There's no infrastructure in place to. I'm going to actually pull my credit card from PlayStation and Xbox Live and use prepaid cards, because what I realize is they have zero money invested in infrastructure and security. Mm-hmm. My money, my credit card, these guys can get it whenever they want it.
Right.
And I'm not, and so for me personally, as a person that pays with my,
I ain't got no money. You can take my credit card.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I know.
I got a little fired up about this. I apologize.
But it's a fired up situation. I mean, this is huge.
It's kept me offline for 3 days, and it's really pissed me off.
You can't take it anymore.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a little pissed off. I think that there's a lot of dads out there who bought their kids games and that were stuck with not being able to play their game with their kid.
Yep.
And that's what pisses me off, is that this group attacked during a time when they would get publicity, and I get that. I get why they did that.
Well, let me tell you this. Tell me this though. Does this go back to the always online problem?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, here's the deal. I mean, we can't even play Destiny without being online.
Yeah. Right.
You can't even play single player. And I think this is, unfortunately, I think this is something else that the gaming companies have to talk about and think about. I mean, we all grew up in a time and era where, our friends came over, and that's when we were most excited to play video games, right? Because we could, play some Techno Super Bowl together, or some Super Mario Brothers, or, whatever it was that you enjoyed playing. But it was that couch co-op experience. Mm-hmm. And that experience has moved to online. I mean, I think we all have those same, that couch experience, but when you're in California and I'm in Texas, right? And we can still have that experience, and that's what's so great about it. But if there ever is a time where there's a problem with the server base or the internet, something goes on, or say your own personal internet. I mean, there's plenty of guys out there. I mean, if we had a fall, like in 2000 or 2008, where, the market goes down and people lose their jobs, they can't afford to pay for internet, their gaming consoles are bricks.
Yeah.
They're bricks. And you can't even play a game you want to play after being fired because you can't afford the internet. And these are the kind of things that it goes back to. And it's like, they got to think about these kind of things.
Right.
And they got to think about if someone hacks them, what's going to happen, especially if they aren't doing the things that are needed.
Well, and I think if there's a message I would like to send to Microsoft and PlayStation is secure your network. Secure it, because more and more gamers, as we get older and we have more money to spend, we're going to be moving to PC and other environments where we can control this kind of stuff. And the console gaming and the environment they've created will die if they don't maintain it, if they don't create a safe environment.
Yeah, I mean, naturally it would just happen. So, well, thanks for Brian. Any other information you want to give us about that? Maybe that you've read or you're fired up about?
No, I mean, Pope pretty much has spoke volumes for both of us, and I agree with Pope 100% on what he's saying and where we stand in this situation. We were lucky enough to squeeze in a little bit of online time in between getting booted from the servers last
just enough
night,
time to hit 32,
which
baby.
Was Christmas.
Which
was Christmas Day.
Pope hit 32.
So yeah, Pope his 32 for everybody out there.
On 3 characters.
He was the last to be 30, and he's the first to be 32. So congratulations, Pope.
Yeah, thank you.
This is from me to you.
Thank you.
That you have dedicated your time and done it.
It's
Good job,
impressive.
man.
Now he will never get to play that 32. So
he is probably the first, and I would like to know if anybody has beat him, but as of now, I'll pronounce he is the first Dads of Destiny member to hit 32.
Boom.
So out of 20,000 people we have
that's on point
that I have heard of and know about, you are the first, Pope. So congratulations to that.
I don't know if that's an
and speak of Destiny, obviously, and the whole central of why we do this podcast. And you guys jumping on and trying to play Christmas night. Obviously, you said you got a few hours in Christmas night.
Yeah.
For me, this whole thing hasn't affected me very much because I haven't been home.
Right.
The holidays, so I've been gone, and I took my iPad with me and played some Hearthstone while I was on the road that I'll talk about a little bit later on. But, I wasn't here, so it really didn't affect me, and I didn't know what was going on until I started getting Pope's angry text messages like, I can't believe this garbage, and he was pretty angry. And so it didn't affect me very much, but I did get a lot of time in this past week to play before, and I'm hoping next week to also get some time during the holidays, and so hopefully that stuff won't continue. But I have been enjoying this expansion. I have all 3 of my characters to 31 now, which has been fun. Not 32 yet, Pope. I'm not quite there, but. I will say we did finish the raid with Pope and some of the DPS guys.
That's what's up. Congrats.
Last time, right after the podcast, I think last week, right?
Yeah.
Me and Pope, me, Pope, and Hambone, and Andy, and was it Boshek? Was Boshek with us? Bishek? And Nolxero, and it was me and Nolxero's first time to get it done, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was easy, it was nice. It wasn't easy, but it was. I mean, it was nice to have a group of guys that could get it done.
It really was. I think we died like twice.
Yeah, we wiped twice during that entire raid.
The entire raid.
It was fun.
We wiped once and like I said, this was me and Nolxero's first time to go through the raid. Right. So we wiped once on the Queen fight, or the fight, and then once on the Crota fight. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was pretty easy as well. I mean, it was fun. It was like an hour 15 minutes we were done, and it was chill and not stressful, like pulling my hair out like I did the first time when we did VOG. Right. But it was a lot of fun, and I gotta say that was probably the best part of my week. I continued, like I said, to level up and do the grind. And I cannot tell you guys how many text messages and emails I got this week of, hey, man, I'm putting the controller down. I'm sick of grinding. And I know they did a great job by taking out some of the grinding on, the materials. But I think this exotic grind really got people down.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's really gotten. How are you guys dealing with the exotic grind?
Well, it's funny. I actually talked to Andy about that. We were on last night with him for a little bit, and it's rough taking a gun, specifically the ones that you're re-leveling, and going through them again, because you already know what they're gonna turn into and how the different perks are gonna benefit you. But just going through it again has been quite tedious, but you realize that you need it if you plan to attempt the level 32 raid or the level 33 raid coming up, the hard mode. You're definitely going to need those 331 weapons. It hasn't been as difficult with things that I didn't have before before the expansion. So like I got a Hawk Moon, which I didn't have prior to the DLC. So it's not as painful doing that type of thing, but definitely for stuff like Suros and Multi-Tool and Gallahorn, it's very annoying.
I think, Brian, they it's like they took out one grinding and they put in another, right?
Yeah.
And I put out a video and put it up on our YouTube channel about Glimmer runs, because honestly, it used to be about where to farm, materials, but now it's all about farming Glimmer. And I went,
and it's because you need that Glimmer for Xur.
Everything.
Is basically why we're doing it so much. Because we upgrade and then we all of a sudden need all that Glimmer again.
7,500
so that's why we're doing it.
500 Glimmer to upgrade one weapon.
Right, and it changes based on a weapon. Like Pope was reading a list to me last night, and this week, for those of you who haven't been able to get on, Xur had the upgrade for Gallahorn, and to upgrade Gallahorn, it's 7,800 Glimmer. So You need 7,800
think about
glimmer
that,
and an exotic shard.
Ryan, when you remember we were on at midnight when Zur at 1 o'clock Western time, right when Zur came on, I went into the tower with 25,000 glimmer in my bank, plus another 4,000 in network keys sitting in the vault. All right, so 29,000 glimmer, and I left the tower with 354.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
So that's ridiculous.
I mean,
well, I'll tell you what I've been doing, and this is what I did. There was guns I didn't level up before the expansion. Right.
On purpose, yeah.
I mean, I think everybody can basically go down to, look, there's certain guns that you like, right, personally, and that you continually find yourself using, that you enjoy. And one of the questions I keep getting is, how do you know what to level up? What gun? And really what it boils down to is this. It's a preference thing, right? It's what kind of gun you want to use and the style that you play. And also it's like, man, just pick one. I mean, because the game is pretty balanced for the most part.
Sure.
For the most part, it's pretty balanced. And like, for instance, last time I leveled up the MIDI tool, and before the expansion, when I first got it, it was really close to launch, probably a week or two after launch. I got the MIDI tool, and I ended up, leveling that up and have used it for a long time, but I didn't ever level up the Suros.
Right.
And then when the Suros came available for the expansion, I ended up leveling it up first. It was the first thing I leveled up. And so I've been enjoying it, but I played and I enjoyed the game, and I've played a lot before I had it leveled up, and now I'm playing with it. So basically the guns I was using before, I'm not using now, which is, I was using a lot of the raid gear before.
Right.
I was using, a Vision of Confluence a lot, and I was using obviously I got that right before the expansion, but I did use that quite a bit. I still use that gun. But, Vision of Confluence, I would have to say was my go-to. Like, if I'm going to jump on, you're like, hey, let's go play PvP, I'm going to make sure I have a Vision of Confluence, and, then that's how I would run it, and I think you kind of have to not look at the full picture, because what I caught myself doing this past week is, like, getting really down about it in the grind, as far as, like, oh my gosh, dude, I have so much to grind. This is depressing.
Sure.
And I think you have to, like, put it aside and go, okay, hey, like, what do I really enjoy doing and what I want to do? Because if you enjoy grinds, there's plenty of that to go around. But don't let, what I will say about, whatever, and I know I have a couple points here that I talked to you guys about before the podcast that I want to talk about. And I think no matter what the negative feeling that I've had about this week, I think it's because I kind of put this pressure on myself to, like, hey, I want to get this done, right? I want to get these grinds done. I want to get these guns leveled back up, and so I can have that completion feeling. And I don't know about you guys, but that it does. It sounds really stupid because I got plenty of other things to worry about in my life, but it overwhelms me, to have so much to do in the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
well, and that's the psychology that I think, and Brian, Andy, and I went over and over about it. And you were there, Troy. We were talking about it. It's the psychology of exotics. Is I feel like they didn't need to reset them.
Right.
They should have just added, bars to them. Right. That was a point you made, and I think that spoke volumes. It's the psychology of the weapon that you have already. They didn't need to add anything to it. They just needed to add damage to it, and then add more area that you needed to get to the new level.
Right. Give me
you expressed it better, dear Troy.
Well, if they would have basically just said, and what I was saying is, if they would have basically said, like, hey, look, we're going to give you more damage, and if you upgrade it, this one perk you had, which, like, for instance, the Suros added. It added, you can still life still basically.
It was the bottom of the glass is half full, so the bottom half of the magazine causes more damage, and it also regains your health when you get kills.
Which was it had the bottom half did additional damage on the first edition of the Suros, but this one added basically what I'm known to as life steal. Basically regeneration of your life, right? If they would have said, hey, here's another row, whether it be another tab on the gun or whatever, I don't care how many spots they gave me. If they would psychologically, what I was saying is, if they would have said, "Hey, look, you get this additional perk onto the bottom half of the magazine, and you get more damage if you complete this set of upgrades."
Right.
Instead of saying, "Oh, what we're going to do is erase every progress you have, and then here you go, level up a new gun."
And that psychologically for me, that seems like it makes me want to buy the expansion pack, right? It makes me
because I get additional.
Wait a second,
onto
you mean
my guns.
I have this same Suros, right? But now, not only or something, it didn't even need to get that complicated. Sure, say you got the upgraded one, right? And you added more damage you had to redo the damage pieces, right? Or they added 2 circles to it, whatever, to reach the new damage point. But then with the upgraded version, you could select 2 of the perks available, right?
Well,
it's
you know,
here's
on
the deal.
Two of the scale perks, instead of having to select 1 on the tree, you could select 2 of them. Something
Absolutely.
simple like that, where you had agility plus something else added to the.
Well, the other thing is like they put such an emphasis right on, at the very beginning of this game, before it even came out, all we heard was, your investment with your character, what you do, and your line, and every. But not only that, dude. Listen to me. If you had to spend the time to level up the Suros to 300, and then you had to spend the time to level it up to 333 because you added on to your 300, then all of a sudden that gun to you is special, right? It has a story. You have a history with that gun. But guess what I got to do? I didn't get it to 300 like you did. And so I got the same bonus that you got. And I never had to invest more time in it. You already did. You already invested twice the amount of time in that gun than I did. But yet I have the same exact gun you have. And that's where it's messed up to me because
Agreed.
Like this game is about investment. World of Warcraft is about investment. All these MMO, character building creation games are about investment. And you don't have no investment is being shown by just wiping everybody's guns and getting them to that port. It's the same way with the gear, which is my next point is, we had people fighting to get the raid gear VOG. I mean, just a week before the expansion comes out, and it comes out, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh well, you can throw that away and go buy some stuff from the vendors. And it's like, really? I can buy better stuff from the vendors, and I understand maybe I can buy better stuff from the vendors to go do this, this quest on Earth. Okay, I'll take that. But if I can buy better stuff to go play the Vault of Glass than the actual gear given from the Vault of Glass, I got a problem with that.
So that goes back to my point is that if they allowed if they allowed the raid gear and the exotic gear, that when you to upgrade to the new level, you could activate more perks. That would have made it and then they upgraded the Vault of Glass to a higher difficulty level. They added so they would add like the normal, hard, and then they would add like very hard or whatever, 33. So now there would be essentially now what they've done is they've made the Vault of Glass. I haven't done it in 2 weeks because there's nothing for me to do from it.
No.
It drops
Unless
300
legendaries,
guns. It drops crap guns. It drops crap armor.
Shards and energy are the only thing.
I have 300 shards and 289 energies. I don't need anything from the Vault of Glass.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the average gamer. I get that. I play more than most people. But my point is that they made a complete class set. I had 3 sets of armor. I sharded them all. And it was painful. It was painful. I had to delete them. And it was like, why don't they make it so that I can upgrade them? I don't know. David, you've played a ton of these types of games. How does World of Warcraft handle this?
Well, I can tell you right now, I'll just kind of let y'all go through a little diatribe there. One thing I've noticed for me personally in this, before I tell you how other games handle it, is that I was kind of with Troy doing this grind, and then one day I was like, but for what? Because I can already beat Crota with what I have. So the only thing I really have coming is hard mode, which I could prepare for. and then there's this what is it called, Trials of Osiris coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't know how that's going to function. Is it going to be more like Iron Banner? Is it going to be like regular Crucible? We don't really know.
There's a lot of information out on there's some information out on Destiny on the Reddit forums for this, but
okay,
we can talk about it. Yeah,
but I just felt kind of like, well, there's not a whole lot for me to do if I really grind all this stuff out, and I don't know. I kind of got bummed about that. One thing I can tell you, and we said it last week, was being that how you level is attached to armor in the later phases of the game is really a bad decision. And I would have never guessed it was such a bad decision until now when I can see it in practice. But, with the fact that, like you said, you go VOG and there's no reason to run it. Well, in WoW, there's relevant gear in any raid. And whenever a new expansion comes out and level caps go up, they add, heroic raids or, something to that extent where it's like, okay, well, you're not going to be able to, run this for not necessarily for what, the gear's kind of maybe irrelevant, like really specific pieces, but there's still relevancy because we're going to go ahead and make a heroic mode, which is going to be in line with the new level cap. And that's in turn going to give you gear that's going to be worthwhile going through the raid again.
Right.
And so, I don't know. VOG, I ran it once because some people needed help running it because they were trying to get Vexes. So I ran it for that reason. And other than that, I agree with you. There's no reason to run it. There's really, unless you need shards or you're trying to help people get Vex, there's no reason to run it.
I mean, at this point, my goal is to jump on, do Eris bounties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, get her, keep leveling her up till I get to 4, which I'm very close. And then, play with you guys if you need help with anything. I mean, I can say this about Dad's Destiny. Dude, guys are helping other people do stuff all the time that they don't need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen it more in this expansion than ever, and it has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really has, man. It's been awesome, and just really cool to see people want to just play together,
right.
And just have that social experience, and that really has been awesome. But I get on it and do her bounties, and Iron Banner was out, and I didn't even play it,
right.
because I didn't need it. It
right.
was completely
you were already
irrelevant.
31, and their gear was only going to get you to 31. So, what was the point?
They could have made Iron Banner really relevant if it was 32 gear.
Well, they did the same thing they did before when they gave us gear that wouldn't get you to 30. And it's like, well, wait, why would I want to play it if I can't get to 30? And I'm primarily a PvP player. And
I played it with a bunch of savvy guys, Hambone, with Dark and those guys, quite a bit. Dope Chops, Mad Dog, all those guys. I played quite a bit of Iron Banner actually with them because I was just on one night and they're like, "Hey, come play with us." And of course, I had to go show up. Pope. I had to go show up some true skill in the Crucible.
Oh,
there.
my goodness.
And I'm trying to raise that level of savvy, PvP for them.
Yeah.
And so, I went in there and I had a great time. But what was just so crazy is that I leveled up guns pretty fast doing this and gear in my level 31 gear really fast. And so that was nice. But it's just like I didn't care really how I did because the points didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Well, like as long as I kept my good KD, that's all I mattered about. And I was playing well, to my standard. And so I had a good time doing that. But it was like, well, why do I really need to play this?
And I think for a game that focuses on loot being the objective, right? Some of the Iron Banner, and it goes back to a very old complaint that we've had since the time this game came out, and loot is the objective, and in Iron Banner, and as well as other games, the randomness of the loot drops is super frustrating. So you could, if you knew that by playing Iron Banner you would get some cool gear that would get you to 36 that you not necessarily couldn't buy from her to getting to rank. You could either get to rank 4 or 5. You know, if you could crush that much Iron Banner and get up there to rank 5, you could buy her gear. Okay, cool. Great. You did that. But for the average guy that's going to play Iron Banner, have some random loot drops that are specific to Iron Banner that happen based on something that makes it relevant to that game type you're in.
At least some type of award system, like if you win, 15 games or 20 games or whatever. Hey, we're gonna
make that a bounty. If the Iron Banner bounties should have been win 15 games in a row and you will get level 36 arms. Right?
Level 32.
No, like 32. I'm sorry. The
36 light.
The 36 light,
yeah.
Right. Which is confusing for the average person. I mean, that doesn't play this game. Is why doesn't 32 light mean 32 and anyway.
Right. Let's not even.
That's a whole other discussion, but yeah.
But my point is that you should be going after those bounties, and they should mean something. I don't know.
Right. The only thing that came to me is getting my guns leveled up quicker, and I think it was Andy that we were in there with, and he was like, I asked him, I said, why are you in Iron Banner and you're on your way to 32? And he's like, oh, I'm just doing it to get this gun.
Bounties.
What up? Right.
Yeah.
Extra bounties.
Give me an Iron... The character bounties. I get Vanguard and Crucible, right? The generic bounties that are there. Give me specific bounties that give me a loot that I know will drop when I complete it.
Right.
And I don't mean an exotic bounty. The Iron Banner, the Queen's bounties, the Eris bounties, I thought there was hope when Eris had a bounty that produced Murmur.
Right.
Why isn't that an Iron Banner reality?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what's
weird is that it's all about control. Because if you look at the Eris bounties, they limited how many you get and how much you can do. So if we did it exactly how they'd like us to do it, we would all still be somewhere around rank 2. You know what I mean? Or 2.5 maybe. And basically they're trying to take out us avid players and bring it down to an everyday player. Right. Yeah. So they're like, here,
they're trying to scale how much you
exactly.
They're trying to scale how fast you move along in the content. But the reason why they're doing that is because of the lack of content.
Right, because if they didn't do it, there is no game. If you didn't have to re-level an exotic, if you could do as many Eris bounties as you wanted, why would you?
And this is exactly why I said last week, I said that I don't want the best gun in the game to drop for me this early.
Right.
I don't want the raid pieces to drop for me, in 2 times through.
Right.
And not on a regular occasion. You know what I mean? I don't want it happened to me in VOG. I would like to see me have to run, Crota 10 times before I got everything.
Honestly though, Troy, that's the point. The Iron Banner, like the Crota's let's break this out. So Crota's bounties, right?
Right.
You're gonna do Crota on normal, right? Or Crota hard. And Crota has a series of bounties that you're gonna need to accomplish. And if you manage to do those, you get a reward. And that's what it is. And honestly, that's what it should be. You could get it randomly dropped to you. Yes, RNGesus could be miraculously give you something. Cool. But you should know what it should be a process that draws you in, and then you do Crota's raid, and it's the culmination of a series of bounties that you've done that led you to that. And I was hoping when they were talking about Eris bounties that they would lead to Crota's bounty being the final bounty, right? To guns that are relevant to the raid. But they gave me. I've got the sniper. I've got the shotgun. I've got the auto rifle. I've got the machine gun. I mean, and I've run it 6, 7, 8 times now. So
I think it's like 9.
Yeah. And you got all the pieces.
Yeah, and I've got all the raid
all
pieces
the armor
and stuff.
Pieces.
That doesn't make any sense.
And this is what's crazy to me. Why did they put the helmet in there? Like, why are you guys shortening the gaming experience and then telling us or controlling how much of it we do.
Right.
Like, this is what I don't get. And I think there's conflict at Bungie on the side of this. Like,
there's some internal
obviously, one team is making a call and another team is making a call.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's something going on here. And I'm just like, look, the game would not be horrible if you only had 2 people with a Vex Mythoclast in it. It wouldn't be.
Right.
Because you know what it'd be? It'd be like, hey, dude, let's run VOG this week. Let's see if you get one. And you'd run it. You'd spend the 35 minutes or 40 minutes now that we can go through VOG to see if we get it. Right. And if one of us gets it a week, we would be so ecstatic, like, oh, dude, you got it. That is awesome.
Right.
But it lost it. It lost that.
Right.
It lost that after the first week because now everybody has it.
Mm-hmm. Or what if they added a second set of raid armor? Another set of raid armor with completely different perks that were maybe focused on more PvP type skills or more PvE type skills. They look totally different. They're still worth the same in light value, but they do different things. Like, I know that there are some slight variations between, like, Pope may get 2 sets of gauntlets that have a little different build on their discipline or whatever, but I'm talking drastically different things that keep you coming back.
As me and Andy talked about, I think Pope, you were in the room when we talked about this. You have ones that have like agility on them. They give +2 agility to your character. Dude, at the end of the day in this game, those stats don't really matter.
No, I'm talking on the level.
They don't really matter.
Like, Pope, what's that helmet that you just upgraded last night?
The same 14.
Right, I'm talking like something on that level. Like, that you enter Pope's bubble.
They got it right.
Yeah,
they got it right.
That's what I'm talking about.
They made the helmet Saint 14. And I got excited because that was the first exotic helmet for the Titan that I had received. And the Helm of Inmost Light was also really good. But it seems like I got the boots, the exotic boots, Troy, right? Very few people have them, right? And I got them, and I was all excited. Do you know what the big thing about the Raid exotic, the Titan's exotic boots are?
What?
I can shoulder charge for 4 seconds longer.
That's it. And that's what I'm saying.
Thing.
Why is it not?
That's the exotic perk on it. It's not increased agility plus shoulder barge plus, like, I don't know. It doesn't allow me to select. It does none of that.
But what's crazier than all of this, and Nolxero can speak to this, is that you got it already. Dude, we're 2 weeks into this freaking expansion, and you have all the best stuff.
I have every single piece. I am missing one raid. I am missing one Titan piece. One. And that's the one you have, and I hate you for it.
Who, me? Is it me?
No, Troy does. He has the glass house.
I thought it was David.
No, Zero has a glass house.
Zero.
I don't.
Yeah.
I have Helmet State 14.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want that gun. I want that helmet.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. And it's not like we're bashing the game. It's talking about the longevity of it. Because,
I think everybody should understand that, right, Brian? It's like we're not trying to... We're not bashing... This. I think we love the game so much that we want it to be better.
Right. And that's it for me, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. I mean, it comes down to, at the end of the day, it's the thing that's getting me here is that the repetition doesn't reward you, right? I mean, if the repetition ended up rewarding you, meaning if it had a longer drawn out process and the reward was still available, then it'd be fine. But the problem, especially in your case now, Pope, is the repetition doesn't bear any reward.
Well, that's the huge problem. Is none of this is given rewards. There's no reason to do these things. There's no real end game. There's no competitive scene, so it's not like, oh well, dude, once I get all this stuff, I'm gonna get real competitive in Iron Banner or whatever. There's nothing there, and I just wish they would emphasize these things more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's all it boils down to. From what I talked about, whether it be re-leveling exotics or your armor pieces, or the raid or the Eris bounties, or Iron Banner. It's that the repetition in the end is not rewarding you. And I know it sounds really stupid, like, game, don't give me the reward so early, but that is exactly what I'm saying. Like,
there's a lack of rewards. That's why they have to. That's why you're like someone like Pope playing a bunch. He can get everything. Because there's not a lot of stuff out there.
No.
Right. It's like they said, like 200 new pieces, and everybody's like, oh, 200 new pieces in this. But Like, I would like to know what the World of Warcraft expansion has in it.
Oh God, dude!
What, like a couple thousand pieces?
It'd be insane. And even if it's not insane, even if it was 200 pieces, those 200 pieces would take you months to get. But the other thing is World of Warcraft will have expansion packs, and then they're gonna have between expansions, they're gonna have like these almost like a title update is what you'd call it on a console, where you're gonna get like, who knows, they're gonna have some kind of theme. Oh, this is going on this month, and so the new patch is gonna introduce a new raid, some new dailies, and there's gonna be new things added with just a patch. That's it. It's just a themed patch. It's gonna have a big list of things that they fixed, but it's also gonna have some new content that comes along with it.
That might be what rubs a lot of people wrong, especially those that have played PC games and they come over and play Destiny and they really did enjoy it. I got a friend that really did enjoy it, and now he's not playing anymore because he's used to PC games and he played a lot of WoW, and he's like, dude, they shouldn't call this an expansion. It's not really an expansion. It's more of a title update, that we paid for.
Right.
And given, they can probably come up with another name for it. I understand it was only, like $20? Is that what some people... I got the Ghost Edition, so I don't remember how much it was for people that bought it.
It's $20 by itself. I think it's $30 to buy both of them. But, Troy, at the beginning of Destiny, like the beginning when we were getting into, like, we're going to do a podcast, all this, and we were really getting excited about the game, I remember having a conversation with you, and I feel like it's just... What I said during that conversation was so true, and what I basically had told Troy was... I don't understand how this game is going to work the way they see it working without a subscription fee.
Right.
Because in order to create all kinds of new content and all that,
it's going to cost money.
It costs money. It costs money to get people in there to do it. And I think that...
Well, you think about $500 million, $500 million that came from Activision, and people will say, well, there's the money. Well, first off, they didn't get it all at one time. Right.
A large portion of it was advertising.
A large portion of it was advertising, and second off, you think about $500 million. I mean, think about it. WoW, and we keep comparing it to WoW because it's really the only thing as far as like rating and everything that a lot of people can relate to. But they have, what is it, like 30 million? Is it 30 million members a month, David? Or
it
what
dropped
is it?
Real low. And then recently with the Warlords of Draenor, once that's come out, now, I mean, they're back up over 10. Maybe they might even be at 20 million. I know it's like a huge resurgent of WoW players.
So you think of 20 million subscribers, or let's just say 10 million subscribers at $15 a month.
Yeah.
Destiny could be $5 a month, and they would change the game completely. They'd be able to do so much with $5 a month.
An expansion pack... Honestly, here's my mindset. An expansion pack gives me a new planet.
Right.
It's got to give you more content. That is the biggest problem.
A whole new
planet.
The other thing I see the benefit of a subscription-based Destiny versus an expansion-based Destiny is with expansion packs, you got to convince people to buy the Dark Below. You have to convince them. And if they're not convinced, they don't buy it. And so now your player base is split. Where, dude, if you play WoW, there's no way you're not getting the new expansion. There's just no way. And
when I went to play, it was what was it that was out? The fire, the dragon,
Cataclysm.
Yeah, Cataclysm, and I bought all of them. All of the Cataclysm. I spent like ridiculous amount of money and just bought them all because David's like, you're gonna want it. And I think I played like one day without it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna want it because I could have already been. Here's the cool thing. I could have already been getting drops at early stages in the game because I bought that expansion.
Right.
So, that was really cool, and how that scales. But, I don't want to sound like we're hammering too hard on the game. I just want to say I think that the expansions it was a good first effort. I'm with you, Pope. There definitely needs to be more content when you say expansion, right? There's got to be a whole list of additional content.
Right, the quests are over.
And I honestly, I mean, it's disheartening to do Sepkus Prime backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't
come
take
on.
me through the last array.
Don't give me
way.
Black Garden backwards and expect me to not, understand that I'm doing the Black Garden backwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I got you.
But the one thing I will say is that I think we're still in the launch mentality. Like, we had already bought this expansion. We also already bought the House of Wolves. So I don't think we'll see or get what we're expecting until they do have to prove to people to buy the expansion. Because a large number of the people that we played with had already bought it. So there's no need to convince you.
But here's the problem is, like, I got friends that bought it as well, but they're not playing it because
they just gave up on
it. They played the first mission, like Pope said, Deathless Prime, where they're going backwards, and they're like, really? Okay, turn that off. I'm going to go play something else.
But the point is they bought it. But now if you say that Destiny 2 is not coming out and that after House of Wolves there's going to be a third expansion, now they really have to put in the work to make us do it.
If they really do 2 years, which means it won't come out till 2016, fall of 2016 for number 2, they better have a ton of expansions lined up. I mean, at least one a quarter, especially if it's this lackluster of content.
Yeah.
They should have. They should. These. If they call this an expansion, right? Let's just say it is. This should be monthly content.
Yeah. That's what I would expect.
If they put out the game as is, and then a month later, the Dark Below came out, and then a month after that, the House of Wolves, and then a month after. I mean, if they had monthly content that was of this caliber, I see that.
Yeah,
perfect. That's perfect. If they're going to make this a month-to-month thing, that's awesome. But quarterly, no way.
That's why I say, dude, just get rid of doing expansions. Do a monthly fee, $5-10, and then you can bring out a Dark Below every month.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to the people who don't buy that monthly?
Well, what you do
they
is
don't
you
play
sell...
the game. They have to have a monthly subscription to be active in the community. Dude, plenty of games just do it. Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn. Okay, when that game came out, it bombed. I mean, it was bomb-tacular how bad it did. When Final Fantasy 14 came out, I think is the number it's on.
Yeah, it is.
And so it did terrible. Hence the name, A Realm Reborn. Because when the Realm was reborn, dude, now they're on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and computer, and they're seeing numbers like they never dreamed. And they do monthly $15 a month like WoW. And they're not doing, I mean, they're getting close to WoW numbers, but dude, if they can put out content, and they're doing the same kind of thing WoW is. They're putting out content on, I think it's every other month, but they're putting out big content updates, and they're not calling it expansions. They're just putting it out. It's like, you pay monthly, here's some content.
I'm down.
Before we get too many emails, I'll say this. You get what you pay for. We're complaining about there might need to be more content. We did only pay $20.
Sure.
Did we get $20 worth?
I think we did.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I would say pretty close. If not, I would say it's pretty close. We did. Did we get our original $60 worth? That's the first question you need to answer for yourself. But
I feel like I'm short 20.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been short of $20 there, Troy.
Well, if you are one of those that perhaps has moved on and playing something else, but you still listen to this podcast, thanks for listening. But come back, give it. It's not bad. We aren't harping on it so bad that we're saying don't play it. It's not worth. It is worth playing. It's fun. It has been a blast. As I said, the social experience is. I think the community is really where Destiny thrives.
Oh yeah.
We have these talks so that we hopefully make the game better. In some way, we hope that the talks we're having right now is to lead to a better game because we love Destiny.
Absolutely. So if it happens to be that Deej or somebody else from Destiny is a dad and listens to our podcast, that they will pass along some of our suggestions.
There you go.
Well, with that said, let's jump over to one we haven't done here in a few weeks, and that is what's that on your screen?
Good luck.
Dad. What is that on your screen? Wait, is that a new game?
All right, Pope. So we know you've been grinding away the level 32. So you haven't had much time.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of added during this section of the podcast.
Yeah, for anything else. Yeah. So we know you're out, and I know Hambone has been sweating in his bed, as he said, with his mark of layout of his sweat. Right. So he's been down, but actually, me and Nolxero have played a little bit of something else. We actually, and I'll go ahead and raise this one, and then I'll let Nolxero talk about what he's been playing separately that I'm excited about, that I would love to get my hands on as well. But we've been playing Hearthstone, and I'll have to say, man, it is a lot of fun. And for those of you that don't know what Hearthstone is, basically, if you ever played Magic the Gathering, or any kind of like Pokemon card game or anything like that, it's very similar to those, but it's all on on servers live. It's done by Blizzard, who obviously does WoW and Diablo and all the great games that they do. And I've been playing on my iPad, and I know David's been playing on his Android tablet as well as his phone, because he figured out how to do that.
That's right.
Already, so more props to him. But David, what is your take? How are you enjoying Hearthstone? I know you played it before, and then you took a break, and we've been playing a lot of Destiny, and then you've kind of got back to it.
Yeah. So my Hearthstone experience is this: when I found out that Blizzard was making a card game, and then I found out it was very, very similar, and they actually had people that were on the Magic the Gathering team. They worked with those guys, and they basically created Hearthstone out of a love for Magic the Gathering. And I've played a lot of trading card games. Magic is by far the best. It's my favorite, and it proves it's the best because it's one of the. I think it may even be the first trading card game ever, and it's the most successful. So to have a game that's based...
I mean, they're still running tournaments of that thing today.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
Today they still bring out new cards today. I mean, Magic has been going on. God, dude, it has to be like 20 years now, maybe longer. And
it's been a long time.
So when someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna build a game," because like I'm telling you, if Hearthstone came out and it was like the WoW TCG, not that WoW TCG was bad, it's just it wasn't really my style. It wasn't really what I was into. So if Hearthstone was that, I probably wouldn't be into it. But since Hearthstone is heavily influenced by Magic the Gathering, dude, it's a blast. And so when I found all this out, I was like, gotta get beta. And I did everything I could to get in the beta. And I finally got in the beta. And you remember? And you were like, what do you even care? I don't want to play that. And I finally got into beta, and I played the crap out of it. I unlocked all kinds of cards. I had all the stuff unlocked. But as betas go, the inevitable reset came because they were going to the live servers, and they were coming out of beta. And so I was a little disheartened by losing a lot of stuff. And so I kind of stepped away from it for a little bit. And then, like you were saying, Destiny came out, and we were playing that. And, now I've been kind of in a lull with Destiny. I still play Destiny. I get on, do my bounties, and I like to run raids with people and have fun with different people. But whenever I wake up and I'm like, man, the kids are gone, and the wife maybe she's at work or whatever's going on. It's like I just want to play something that I can just sit back and relax and chill. And Hearthstone is the way to go. It's just so chill.
I come from the opposite, right? I've told you many times, and I've asked you. At one point I even wanted to start a Magic the Gathering pack and get David to teach me, because he just told me how much he loved it, right? And I was like, yeah, that was a little too nerdy for me, but I'll get into it. I'll give it a try. And so I never did, but then Hearthstone comes out, so he's like, dude, if you liked it, you got to try it. And it's been an experience for me because, like I said, I've never played a card game, so I've really learned. And it doesn't like throw you in there and you automatically start losing to all these people that know what's going on. It's got a great practice mode, and then now they've recently released like an adventure expansion that you can buy for like $20, which is super in depth and a lot of fun. Yep. Very challenging. Teaches you, the game's really good about teaching you how to play as it goes along, right? And so. that's been a lot of fun. I've won some, competitive games I've played. I tried not to play very much because my ratio is pretty high right now on winning. So I'm like, I'm afraid to play more because then I'm going to start losing. But it's been a lot of fun because, as I said, I've been traveling for the holidays. Went to my parents' house and I sat on the couch while everybody was watching, Christmas movies, and they think I'm in there being social with them, but I'm completely signed off playing Hearthstone. And so I'm not getting any hate from the wife or anything, but it's a lot of fun. And, it's one of those games that, you can sit there, you can take it in, 10, 20 minute intervals and be done. If you're playing practice mode, I mean, your whole attention doesn't have to be straight on it. And so it's really good for, for dads, I got my little 2-year-old running around or whatever. He wants to run up to me or, use the bathroom in his pants, and I got to go change him. There's no hard feelings. Like I'm feeling like, Pope's waiting on me to get on the raid, and so he can get his level 32. So it's a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed it. So if you haven't played Hearthstone and you like any type of card games or whatever,
the thing about Magic the Gathering, and I think this might have been a problem, is to wrap your head around Magic. There's thousands of cards in Magic the Gathering. So to come into that, even though you don't need to pay attention to that when you start playing Magic, inevitably you're going to look at stuff and try to read about stuff. And if you're coming into Magic the Gathering and say you try to watch a tournament, dude, if you just got into it, there's so much you don't know because there's such a lineage there. This is in its infancy. Come into it now while you can enjoy the game in its infancy. And, they just had their first the Goblins and Gnomes. That's their first new set of cards. Get into it now while you can still get into what, the early stages and just kind of understand the game from the ground up at the beginning.
And those of you that have already been playing Hearthstone or do occasionally, hit me and Nolxero up. We'd be more than happy to play with you, and absolutely. I'm always looking for people to teach me some skills. So, the last thing we have to talk here about is Nolxero has been playing a game that we used to play on PC together that used to be a headache to play multiplayer, but was probably one of the most fun games we've ever played, and that is Terraria.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about that experience on console, man, and what that game is for those that don't know.
Well, Terraria, I think the easiest picture to paint would say it's like a 2D Minecraft with objectives. Where Minecraft, if anybody that's played it, I'm sure everybody's played it, is like you just have this world and it's like Legos. You just go and enjoy the world and you build the world around you and do what you want. You do that in Terraria, but there are goals. There are bosses. There are things to do. There's armor progression, weapon progression. But it's all in a 2D, in a 2D setting. And I can tell you right now, dude, I can't count the hours me and my boys have sat down and played just split screen. 3-player split screen of Terraria. It's a fantastic game for any dad to pick up, play with their kids, because it's completely family safe. It's a ton of fun to play split screen. And the fact that the multiplayer thing you mentioned, now that that's fixed on consoles and it's simple as, hey, I got an invite from my friend, I'm going to jump into his world. It's so much better than having to go through all the crap you had to do on PC.
Yeah. Well, I think, Pope, you would enjoy this with your son, man. Really, it's you might not see it from the pictures or a video, but the way the game plays is really, really smooth and really, really creative. And, it's a lot of fun to sit there and be like, Dad, no, grab that and let's build this, or let's build these boots that make us fly like super high. Or, David, what are some of the things that you can build in there real quick, or you gain as a reward?
Well, yeah, they kind of, when you first start, you're going to be building stuff like, wood chest plates and wooden swords and copper swords. But the game doesn't just sit in this like fantasy realm where it's like swords and armor. Like they get into points where you can get jetpacks and build like angel wings, and so you can fly around. There's like boots that make
skate
you move
boots
super fast. You can get different types of guns, boomerangs, bow and arrows, crazy weapons.
What's crazy, Yeah, what's crazy is you're basically like on the Earth's surface or a planet surface, whatever, and you drill down to the core, and each level, like from a 2D perspective, as you go down, like physically down into the core of the planet, like the environments change.
Right.
And and you'll like encounter bosses. So like when you get to the, I think on like one of the first places you fight this boss at the very, like all the way down at the core of the Earth, where you spend forever to dig down there. It's so much fun, and you're finding these chests along the way and fighting this stuff. You get down there, and it's like, some like lava boss, because it's so hot in the core of the Earth, and there's this lava boss there. So it's a lot of fun. I know Nolxero picked it up for $6. I don't know what it is anymore. I should have grabbed it when it's $6.
When it's not on sale, it's worth $15. From what we played on the PC, me and Troy put, I think, maybe 100 or more hours into it on PC. And they've added a plethora of new stuff. There's so much new stuff. I actually had to look at like the wiki, because I was like, God, there are so much new bosses and just all this new stuff that I didn't, I just wasn't familiar with because of, being on the PC. It's a blast. Everybody that wants to find a good game to sit down and play with your kids, Terraria, play it. It is such a good game to play with your kids.
So if you're playing either one, hit us up. Let us know if you got something else on your screen that you want us to try. Definitely shoot over the suggestion, and we'll see if we can get to it or give it a try. I know Nolxero's always up for trying some new games.
Absolutely.
I don't ever really have the time, and he seems to make the time and sleep less. But shoot him over, and we'll try for sure. Well, let's go ahead and jump over and get Hambone and Pope back on the mic here. I think they're falling asleep because we're not talking about Destiny, but
there's no guns.
We'll jump over.
You can't shoot.
Yeah, no guns. What? We'll jump over to Stories from the Tower.
And now it's time for Stories from the Tower. Stories that come from you to us, back to you. Be prepared to laugh at time, or 3 or 2.
All right, Hambone, tell me what we got this week.
Well, being that it was Christmas, we did not get a ton of responses. Actually got a pretty funny story from one of the savvy guys. So this one's coming from Mad Dog 424, one of our savvy admin, and it's about a Christmas party that he went to with his wife. I believe it was last year. So here we go. It says, okay, so one of my wife's coworkers threw a Christmas party last year. Her goal was to get me drunk because she never saw me drunk before, and she wanted to see what kind of drunk I would be. Anyway, she told, right? It's already starting off bad. Anyway, she told her coworker, which happened to be one of my buddies, that this was her goal, and he said that he would make it his point to make sure I was gone. So once we arrived at the party, we started playing cards, and he started bringing me shots of Yukon Jack. Needless to say, every time my glass was near empty, he was giving me some more. I felt great until I got up to use the restroom, and because I had no idea how much I had just drank, and I ended up walking straight into a glass door. After I walked into a glass door, we decided it was time to leave, and come to find out, I drank an entire bottle of Yukon Jack along with some shots of Crown Royal. Yeah. So once we get in the car, I'm not feeling so hot. And guess what? I puke inside of my wife's purse, which is a brand new Coach purse, nonetheless.
She deserved
awesome.
Yeah, so he puked in his wife's purse.
So at the time, it wasn't his wife, or it was his wife?
It was his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, and just somebody else wanted to see him drunk.
No. It was his wife. It was his wife that wanted to see him drunk. So I guess he doesn't drink too often. Or drink to that level too often, so she wanted to see what it was when he gets turned down for what?
I'll tell you this right now. If my wife tells me she wants to see me drunk, I'm all up for it, man.
Right. And because, you pay for the repercussions of that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. If you want me to get a little tipsy and take advantage of me, go right ahead. I'm fine with that.
Right, but somehow
if my wife wants to take advantage of me, I'm okay with it.
Hey, I'm all right with it. But somehow he ended up paying the price twice because he not only was he drunk and I assume extremely hungover, he said he had to buy her a new purse, and it was a Coach one. So
Man, come on now.
Yeah, so not only did
and I
she
bet he
make
didn't
it
even
happen,
get taken advantage of.
I'll have to ask him. We will have to report back on this one next week if he did, in fact.
we want a report on whether or not Mad Dog got taken advantage of by his wife.
Yeah,
that's what we want to know.
If that story had been the other way around, he could probably be in jail.
Right, of course. Of course. So that was our story that we got in the email this week. And then from the Bungie forums, we actually got one reply to the post that I put up every week. So don't forget, if you're on the BNet forums, to hop over to the main Dads of Destiny forum and check for it, because I usually post one every week with the topic that we decide that we're going to do. So this one was obviously about Christmas. And Ancient Child, which is a person that shared some stuff with us before, was kind enough to write a little Christmas time poem, if you will. And I thought it was pretty good. It's not funny, but it was one of the things that I thought was pretty talented. It's fairly lengthy, but I'm going to read it here. So here we go. It was the raid before Christmas. That's the title of this one, and it's from Ancient Child. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the tower, not a creature was stirring at such a late hour. The raid boots were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that the cryptarch would start to play fair. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of Skylanders danced in their heads. And Ma in her kerchief in bed all alone, while I'm in front of the TV wearing headphones. When out of the hellmouth there arose such a light, as the Titans smashed hive thralls, wizards, and knights. Through the abyss I flew like a flash, with blink strike and arc blade I stabbed and I slashed. The moon is a hive nest like we couldn't know, the warlocks threw nova bombs into the dark below. When what to my wondering eyes did appear, an oversoul! Let's fight, then we'll clear. We respond by the crystal so lively and quick, popped ammo, reloaded, let's take down this brick. More rapid than sparrows, the boomers they came, we pulled out the icebreakers and killed them with flame. Now Hawkmoon, Bad Juju, now Red Death and Thorn, load Suros and Truth and grab Gallahorn. His shields went down fast, he's starting to fall. Now slash away, jump back to the wall. So wash, rinse and repeat, then loot drops for all. The sword bearer is up, and quickly he dies. So up to the platform the blade dancer flies. With a hand on his sword, and his super up too, all that's left now is spamming R2. You know the routine, you've done it before. We started at midnight and fought glitches till 4. But tomorrow is Christmas, and I'll be out of sight. But screw that right now, because I'm raiding tonight.
Man, that was awesome, man.
That was good. That's good. That's good.
That is so good, man. That is really so good.
He is Ancient Child on PSN. If you guys want to add him, feel free to do that. And
take that rhyme, Bell Bunny.
Right?
Take that rhyme right there.
That's a rhyme right there.
Wow, dude,
good
that
job,
was awesome.
Ancient.
I thought that was very well put together. So, round of applause for Ancient.
Wow. Yep.
Absolutely,
very
man.
well
absolutely.
Done,
well, yeah, very well done. Well, guys, if you have, if you have a poem you would like to compete with that, I know I will not, but definitely shoot them over to feedback.dod@gmail.com. I have been out of commission this week, finishing up things at work, and then obviously the holidays. But Nolxero, tell us a little bit about any feedback we got this week.
The only 2 emails we got were actually today, and they were of some really good pictures of a Hobgoblin beer. I'm actually getting on Tumblr.
Oh,
here
yeah,
in
I
just a
saw
moment.
that. Yeah.
They're going to be posted on Tumblr. Actually, I might just retweet these out. But that was it we got. I think everybody was just enjoying the holidays, so they didn't have time to talk to us this week.
Well, I will say this, and I haven't brought this up, but we did update the website this week with the official listener page. And yeah, the official listener page. And as we've said before, once we hit 100 official listeners, we're going to do a little something special for those guys. But I just want to tell you guys real quick, and even all of you guys, I think Pope and Hambone and Nolxero, you might not even have seen this or caught it yet, but our very first one, was Stan Hudson. So Stan became an official listener by donating to us, and we appreciate it, Stan. Ryan, I'm going to probably butcher a lot of these names, but Ryan DeCure, Mark Payne, Jason Perez, Tobias Sunkvist, I believe. And I'm sure I butchered your last name, dude, but thank you so much for your donation. And the next one is Adelaide Cortez, and then Ryan Parsons. So, guys, thanks so much for being the first few of our official listeners and getting it started. Definitely jump over there, guys, and let's get this list going so we can get to 100 and give out these special little special something to you guys, little special editions. So we definitely appreciate everybody that does jump over to the website and use it for the Bottles Up list, or whether it be the blogcast links or Twitch links, YouTube links. I know Pope's doing quite a bit of the YouTube events these days, and loading up some tip videos along with Hambone. So definitely go there, check it out, click over to our links there as well, and give them some pressure to keep on bringing you some good content.
We gonna do it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, as always, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure you rate us on iTunes, as always. Make sure you check us up on YouTube and Twitch, as I said, at the DoDPodcast.com. You can find all those links. And then also make sure that you visit Guardian Radio Network and the awesome guys over there for tons of other great podcasts. Of course, they have the Guardian Radio Show, the main one, TTL Party Chat, Warlock School, Our Friends, and Ghosts and Echoes. You can also follow me on Twitter at TwoLoudtx. You can follow us, the DoD Podcast, on Twitter at the DoD Podcast. Nolxero at Nolxero. POPEBEAR, Pope_Bear, and Hambone at Hambonedini, HAMBODINI. And don't forget to visit dadsofdestiny.net and the DoDpodcast.com. So thanks again for listening, guys. And until next time, see you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
And take care, polar bear.
And I'm out of here, reindeer.
Yeah,
reindeer. There you
Seasonal.
go.
You did it.
Seasonal.
I created
exit.
that.
Yeah.
Remix.
I just created that. I was like, oh, I forgot to look one up. And I created that on spot. So, on point.
Oh, that was good, bro.